Computer. Lights. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. So I am fixing a problem. Good morning, Brent. Fixing a problem. I've been having for a while, which is there is a model problem that I've had for a while with all of my models that I'm trying to kind of square away. And we're going to fix it today, and that's what I'm doing. So there was a guy 100 million years ago, back before the dinosaurs roamed the earth, who, okay, I don't know what you're doing, George, but that's really weird. It was called Kozaburo, something like that. Anyway, he made DAS models of hair and things like that, and so you're right, the original Dino Rider. It does, man. It does. He made these beautiful hair models for DAS. And now it's kind of funny. Back in that day, when we were doing this, it was amazing. The quality was insane. It made the hair look lifelike and real, because back in 1999 and 2000, poser models and DAS models had effectively plastic clumps on their head, and that was what you had. And he used transparency maps, to get the effect of, man, there's a lot of stuff in here. Get the effect of hair that looked like hair. It was gorgeous. Nowadays, we have much more powerful computers, and we don't need to worry about that anymore. So what we have is 22, 23 years ago. Yeah, I know, right? Right. We have much more powerful, and so now it can just run hair. So just create all the little strands and everything. It can, whatever. It's totally cool. Not a problem. And it's like, right? I mean, it's like, well, okay. So, let's see which one's. This one's newer, so we'll keep this one. So anyway, here we are now, many moons later, and I'm sitting here going, I could just take this original Kozaburo hair that was on these models and use them as marker hair, because it doesn't matter. We're going to redraw over it, but we could use these hair files, and I'm just copying everything. There's nothing to see here, by the way. I'm just copying all of these files over into a one pool, because the only way to load old poser files is to take them and import them. So we're going to have to go through and import them, which is fine. Part of the problem we're having right now is I tried over the weekend to do pre-poses with the maquettes on my Surface. And the hair didn't transfer because the hair is only installed on this instance of DAZ. And I'm starting to do okay, we're at that. If you don't have the correct instance with the correct things going, it's, none of it's going to work. And I'm like, you know what? I got better things to do with my life. So what we're doing here is I'm going to install these old Kozaburo hairs, and then they won't ever change because they've been installed in my system for a long time, and I still have the original files, the original zip files from these things that are 5 billion years old. And so we're going to just do this. I'm going to copy them all in here, and then we're going to install them the old-fashioned way today. And it'll take me just a moment to do so. And then it won't be a problem. And then it won't matter because I'll copy this folder in its entirety over to the Surface. And part of my problem is that as all programs get older, it's older than the planet Earth. It's a really old program. I'm just saying, it's older than the Earth program. As these programs get more and more complex, one thing I am noticing is, now those are the same. You're newer. I'll keep these because they're the same. You're newer. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter. Okay. There we go. The newer programs are getting more and more. I'm trying to think of what the word is. They're getting more and more. I don't want to say selfish. It's not the right word. Elite? No. Proprietary. That's the word I'm looking for. Proprietary. And I'm noticing DAZ is going down this area, this pathway. If you don't have the DAZ installer now, things don't install properly. Things get kind of wonky. Texture files go weird places. It can't find them. Stuff like that. I'm like, well, I feel kind of like we're getting to that point where it's like, well, it's kind of, there we go. All of this should be operating. Now we'll load this down to Studio. And now that we're not doing anything boring, by the way, we're not going to take these hairs and run them by themselves. Colin Cantwell passed away. Aww. That is a bummer. He designed a lot of the early Star Wars stuff. I mean, like, before oh man, I'm having a hard time thinking this morning. Mac, whatever, I've forgotten. Anyway, yeah, he was like the early version of the X-Wing and stuff like that was kind of fascinating. Okay. Weird DAZ stuff. Random DAZ. Kozaburo. Okay. This is the one that's the most important. Where did it go? Or is it really, really, really small? Really, really, really small. Okay. And this is most important because we actually do not have a ponytail object for. So the ponytail, so what had happened was I'm using the Poser 4 ponytail object or whatever from, or Poser 3 or whatever as the prototype ponytail um, for Mayrel. And it's not transferring. It's not going anywhere. It keeps, I keep losing track of it and stuff. So we're going to take this object, it's its basic object, and we're going to fix it until it's the correct object, until it looks like Mayrel's hair, and we're going to then export it like it's supposed to be, and then we will use it for Mayrel's hair as a blunt object, so to speak. So that's how this is going to work. The other thing is that if we make our own object out of this, see right now it looks like no, you can't actually see because you're not switched over to this thing because I'm asleep. Okay, there we go. Now we're here. So it looks like a Lego thing. We'll fix this and we'll get it squared away. What we're going to do first is we're going to load Blender. Man, I am just not doing good this morning. I'm getting started. Lots of new bumps going on. Oh yeah. I'm gonna sneeze. Hang on. I don't want to sneeze. I'm gonna sneeze. I sneezed. There we go. Oh my goodness. Ermagerd. All right. Bringing up Blender. Put Blender over here. Yeah, For All Mankind's coming out in like 2 weeks. And I gotta admit, that is something I have been looking forward to for a while. I like how the first thing we have to do with all of these is delete the default cube. It's kind of like, well, there's that. Right? I'm waiting, man. I'm waiting. I've been waiting for this for a while. I follow a lot of the actors too, so I've been watching them hype it as things have gotten more and more hypey. All right. We got a lot of gunk on my monitor here. Remember, we're only doing 1 hour of show today because we got to go to Geek Tank in just a few minutes. So it's going to be a thing. Alrighty. Man, how small is this thing? Too small. I don't think it is. Something I remember about importing into yeah, so let's export this as a DAS object or as a wavefront object and do ponytail hair 01. And that way we don't have to worry about it because I think Blender can't actually handle this. It's too small. So we will import wavefront object and we'll come back from here and do this one and see if that comes up better or not. Okay, see, we're having this problem with you being infinitely small. Like, why are you infinitely small? Why am I having a problem installing or importing this guy? I shouldn't be. It's you, yes. Try one more time. Export. Maybe I didn't have it selected. Save. Yes, I'd like to already save it. All right, let's check our export options. Invisible nodes, no. Right faces, right normals. We don't need to worry about the UV tiles. We don't need to triangulate. Although triangulating could be useful. No groups to worry about, so it's not going to be an issue. Let's go ahead and just do Blender to give it just a basic. Instead of 2%, let's go for 100% and see what happens. And now let's see what happens when we import it in here, because it does seem like it's very strange that it's
incoming call from an unknown call.
Incoming call from a spam risk. I was working over the weekend in a spot that was very, very, very loud. So I made sure to turn the volume of my phone all the way up so that I wouldn't have to miss it. Because you can't miss any of these calls. Okay, see, oh, there it is. Whoa, hi. Hi. Wonder where it is. It's right there. Here, so that's why it does need to be 2% there, doesn't it now? Okay, good. Okay, we have now imported it successfully into here. We will rotate it 90 degrees though. All right. Alrighty then. Now we can take this and we're going to move it down so it's on top of its marker point because this is the pivot point in the center. We want it here. All right. All right. All right. All right. Look at us. Look at us doing the thing. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is import, because we're going to need this, generic human female object, because this will help us determine. Everything is tilted 90 degrees. What's the story with this 90-degree tilty thingy? And what's the story with super huge? Well, okay, I see what's going on. So we'll take the ponytail object because it probably was scaled correctly. No. Object mode, we'll move that because now that I look at it, I think we probably were scaled correctly and we just screwed it all up. So let's return. There we go. Return to the correct size, or the size that you were before. And then we will put you in edit mode. And then we will move you down on top of the pivot point. And then we'll back up, put you in object mode, move you up here, because I think this is 2 meters. Then we'll go and say import wavefront object. Generic human female. Come in here sideways, because apparently that's what we do these days. Who knew? It does kind of aggravate me a little bit, because I'd rather this were not sideways, because it's a little easier to deal with at 90 degrees up. There we go. We're going to move this on top of here. And now we have huge hair. It's like 80s hair right now. Right? 80s hair. We will go here like so. Here like so. Okay, now we have the ability to see how big is this, where is this, and how does it fit on our model. Not very well. Okay, that's fine. Now we can figure it out. All right. Right now we can look at this, and the first thing we're going to do is probably, I'm going to sit here and be on this. Edit mode. All right. And this is how we start making a mess of things. First things first, I can already tell that it's not horrible back here, but I probably should fit this in a little bit better. We're not going to use this as transmapped anymore. We're going to use it as it is, as just a big, bulky thing. So it's going to be kind of hard to see everything, but that's all right. We'll get there. So since it's not transmapped anymore, I'm going to take all of these things and just make sure they are away from the ear and things like that, which wasn't a problem before, because they just transmap it and they'd put the transparency on it and it wouldn't be an issue. Now it's an issue. So I'm going to move it up and over and do that. There we go. Yes. There we go. There we go. Like so. And all I'm doing here is just pulling back behind the ear so that it's not directly on the ear. And we're going to do the same thing for this front piece here. So we're going to move it forward and rotate it. And we're just going to make this part of the original map on this, probably the original mode on this was probably, I love how you can see like the jaw and the teeth in here. That's very complex. So I'm going to move this up like so. I feel like all of this was so that he could put in transparencies up here. And so I don't feel like we need it, but I feel like if I delete it, I'm going to regret it. It's probably better to just make a Boolean on it. Okay, fine. Object, add mesh, sphere? I guess so. Yeah, see, everything's going to come out really tiny these days. Right, because now we got to figure out how to get it. She has a pretty wild headache here. Just saying. Well, it's so low that it becomes a thing. It does look like goggles, though, doesn't it? Like she's got weird goggles on or something. Okay. I feel like this is just going to make not what I want it to do. But I also don't want to have to patch up a zillion polygons. Well, legitimately, I've learned better techniques, so maybe I will patch up a zillion polygons. Me. You can probably pretty much just go in here like this, like so, and just kind of go in here and just capture all of these guys right here. And I'm not going to delete these guys outright yet. I feel kind of like I could take these guys out though, right? Because like I only want a point on either side. I don't need a whole bunch going on over here. So we're going to come up through here like so, like so. But I do feel like I want to keep these guys, right? Her hair kind of coming down a little bit on the front, like that. I'm going to take these guys and pull them out too. So it's going to kind of come around like that. We can just do this and say vertices and it's gone. And we can take a look at what we've got. Because that looks acceptable, not bad, not horrible. I'm going to try to, this would be about where the hairline ends, so to speak. That makes sense. Okay. And I'll take you. We'll put a face in there. Where are you? What are you selecting? Don't select stuff that's not you. All right. Same thing up here. Let's patch this in. Uh-oh. This is not the patch we wanted it to do. That's the patch. There we go. Now we're going to need to remove, or not remove, but hide that. Otherwise, we're not going to know where the heck this thing went. Because I'm noticing that it doesn't have an inner shell at all. Ugh. Did I delete the inner shell somehow? How did I possibly do that? That's very strange. Very, very strange. All right. All right. Yeah, it doesn't have an inner shell. Without an inner shell, it's not going to actually work very well. I don't know. I just work here. Okay. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to go like this before I tie up the shell and stuff like that, because there is actually a function, and we're going to figure that out today. We're going to figure out the function because it's the way I need to do it if I'm ever going to do minis, and that is we have to make this a watertight model. So we're going to take this guy here and make a shell that works. And this is a mess. What the heck is going on here? You know what that is. Okay, so that's the inside of that. Okay, I know what that is. So we do have a, okay, well, there's that. You really need to be like here. And it has a seam marked in it, which is really strange because I'm not sure how we got seams marked, but we did. So I want to make sure that all of the seams are cleared. That's a sharp, which is not to be confused with a flat. Both of them are the same. One of them is indicated with a pound sign. The other, okay. You believe me, right? I would never lie to you. I would never lead you astray. I promise. 32 minutes into the show, and now I remember we don't have, and notice we don't have music at all. So every time I'm quiet, it becomes one of those silent things. Lies. Alrighty. Now here's what we're going to do. So I'm making it look more like hair. So we're going to go through here and just grab some of this stuff here and kind of pull it down so that it looks less weird and more like a hairline of some sort. Right, so kind of come around here and just curve it in, you know. And it won't matter that we're about to, I'm just going to seal the entire front end off. I don't see any reason not to. It's going to sit inside her head, so it won't matter. So we're going to just grab all of these front pieces right here. And the thing that I find fascinating is we can just hit F and that puts a face on here, right? I mean, it's the most bizarre looking, strange face that has ever existed, but it's a face. And like I said, it won't matter because I'm going to stick it inside the head of this character. So you won't see that face except like this, right? It's not going to be a big deal. So we can make a weird face, and that was a weird face. And it won't matter. So what I'm also going to do is the same thing on the inside. We're going to do the same thing. We just did this. So we're going to come around here until it stops being funny. Or it starts being funny because it starts being really strange right there. Right? But we also need to make sure we're in naked mode because it doesn't work if it's not in naked mode. You know how this goes. So I use naked mode. That's what I call this, naked mode, where I can see through the different things. I use naked mode. Work. There, see, it created the bizarrest face. It will be fine when I triangulate it in a minute. And you're like, what? That's so weird. It'll be fine. I say this totally on speculation. Not 100% sure that it'll actually be fine. We'll have to see. I can't tell which ones are which. So that's the one. No, don't do that. Do this. We missed one. Because you need to be watertight as well. So we'll do that. And that. And then we'll watertight that. Now, as a side note, if we were to install this into, if we were to put this as it sits like this into Daz, it would just be a mess. Everything would be going everywhere. It'd be horrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and add the modifier, and we're going to triangulate it. As soon as we do, it cuts into that zone in there. And cuts these down. There you go. That's part of our problem. We probably should do the whole thing before we triangulate. Like, select the whole thing, put it in naked mode, guy. I'm like, why is it not doing what it's supposed to do? There we go. That's what it's supposed to do. That wasn't what I was hoping for in here. I feel like what it's trying to do and how it's succeeding in doing it are two different things. But in the end, I actually really don't mind because, like I said, most of this stuff's going to be inside anyway. So if we turn on, I mean, we can still see that even though it's crossed across her ears like that, it's actually not horrible. And now we can smooth back the forehead a little, or smooth it down. That's what the next thing we're going to do. Mirel's got sort of sort of a complex about being prim and proper to some degree. She likes being prim and proper. So we're just going to make sure that her hair doesn't pop up too much. Kind of like that. I mean, it's not perfect. It won't be perfect, but that's okay. I won't. It's just a drawing guide, so it doesn't have to be perfect. What does have to be better, though, is the sideburns need to be closer to the ear. This is all right. That's pretty much all of this. Needs to be kind of moved back just a little, like so. And then we're going to compress a little bit more like this. I am really looking forward to For All Mankind. I'm also kind of looking forward to Obi-Wan. And we got a lot of stuff going on. Westworld, I haven't watched a lot of in a while. I haven't seen it since season 2. And it's just because we don't have all of the services. We can't keep the services because there's just too many of them. And they're all demanding $10 out of us. So we can't actually hold all of the services. So I have to do, yeah, Obi-Wan starts Friday, and I'm excited about that. We get 2 episodes too. That's pretty cool. Okay, there we go. Done that. That looks acceptable-ish. Now, originally she had 2 like hairs that went forward like that, like they were always loose from coming up at the top. I'm kind of pondering whether I want to do that, continue that process. I have to see. Do want to pull this back in like so. There we go. It really is. It's so cool. Like we get to be like awesome nerds to, and it's just the best time to be a geek. I would never have believed it if you had said, told 12-year-old me that don't worry about it, man. In 20 years, there's going to be so much science fiction on TV that you won't actually be able to watch it all. You will not have time. I would have said, is that because I'll be so busy I won't have the 1 hour a week to spend? Would never have thought that it would have been this way. There's just literally so much out there. It's so cool. And this isn't even a complaint. I'm just Loving this stuff. Pull that back. That looks good. Looks good on this side too. Fits on her ears just fine. Everything looks fine. I really do want to put the little sprigs on here. I feel like if we put those little sprigs on, I won't have to worry about them. And I can draw them any way I want to draw them. And they'll be relatively correct. It's a thing. I'm gonna have to shoot tomorrow's house in the rain, and I'm trying to figure out how in the world am I going to take pictures of this house if it's raining and nasty. Yeah, well, it's so funny. I remember when we were kids, we were in our 20s, and this is what we wanted out of cable. This is what we wanted cable to do was a la carte because I hated because I'm not a sports fan. I hated the fact that I was paying. Yeah, it's in Commerce City. So it's on the other side of town, but it doesn't matter. Today is cloudy and tomorrow it's supposed to be rainy all day. It's supposed to rain all day. And so I'm never going to have sun on this house at all tomorrow. And the sellers don't want to move the time. And it's okay. It is totally fine. I've got tricks up my sleeve that I can use to make the house look bright, even if it's really dark. But outside's going to be a problem if it's actively raining. Because if it's actively raining outside, it's really hard. You can't you can't just take a picture of a house and then go through and Photoshop out all the little raindrops that are falling. It's like, so we'll have to figure out what to do about that. I'm hoping that we'll get a break in the weather and it'll be fine. That's what I'm hoping for. All right. I thought so. You look open to me. You should not be open. Weird. It's like this won't open or won't close. Hmm. So I've got to remember that this model was originally created in 2000. So the fact that it acts funny probably shouldn't surprise me because it was built a long time ago. But I can't get this model to seal. We got 10 minutes before Geek Tank. And on Geek Tank today, we're going to talk about weird gaming habits. So I hope you join us, Brent, to tell us your weird gaming habit. Can't get this guy to solidify no matter what I do. Man, can't get this to lock up. I mean, really, honestly, it came out of here just fine. So maybe we'd be okay. Maybe it'd be okay. I don't know. Okay, one last thing, and then we will move on for Geek Tank. Because the truth is, the more I think about it, the more I think she doesn't have sideburns. Because she is not, she's Southern Asian, not not Eastern Asian. So she wouldn't have these sideburns. What the Japanese call baby hairs. Weirdly. So there's my chime that says that I need to go on ahead and transfer over. So I'm going to go on ahead and we'll save this and we'll come up with it in a bit and we'll fix it. Make sure that it's all tied in again. Because I've now made a complete mess of this as opposed to the incomplete mess that it was before. So I'm going to head on over to Geek Tank and we'll see you over there in a minute. And I'll work on it later. Till then, keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye. Computer, good night.